Hey there, you're looking kind of cute. Don't forget to subscribe and check out all my other socials. Enjoy. Two dark eyes looked back at Sterling in the bathroom mirror. His pupils were small, like he was looking deep inside himself. He paused, feeling strangely drawn to his own reflection. Slowly, he reached out and touched the mirror, his fingers near his cheek. Behind him, Victoria looked into the room. "Hey, you all right in there?" He jumped and quickly pulled his hand away. His heart was beating fast, like he had been caught doing something wrong. He had been married to her for 32 years and never had the courage to tell her this part of himself. He couldn't finish the sentence. Victoria stepped closer and looked at his face. He couldn't tell what she was thinking. She reached out and wiped the corner of his mouth where the color had smudged. "That's my favorite shade," she said quietly. "Coral sunset." Sterling closed his eyes. He waited for her to get angry, to be upset, to walk away from everything they had. But then he felt her hand gently touch his cheek. "Look at me." He opened his eyes. Her face showed something new. She looked curious, maybe even understanding. "How long?" she asked. "Always," Sterling said in a whisper. "Since I was young, I've always wondered what it would feel like to be different." Victoria was quiet for a long moment. Then she smiled, a mischievous glint in her eye that reminded him why he'd fallen in love with her all those years ago. "Let's make a deal," she said. "We have that tennis match tomorrow at the club. If you lose, you let me take you to my salon. The full treatment." Sterling's heart pounded. What kind of treatment? Everything. Hair, makeup, clothes. Professional feminization, as Monique calls it. She's been doing it for years for clients who need to explore this side of themselves. "And if I win?" Victoria shrugged. "Then we never speak of this again." "But Sterling," she leaned in close, "I've seen you play tennis. You never lose." The next morning dawned bright and clear. Sterling adjusted his white tennis shorts and gripped his racket tighter than necessary. Across the net, Victoria bounced on her toes, her navy tennis dress swaying with the movement. "Ready to play?" she called out. Sterling nodded, unable to trust his voice. The first serve came fast and hard. He could have returned it easily. 20 years of country club tennis had honed his reflexes to perfection. Instead, he swung a fraction of a second too late. The ball sailed past. 15 love! Victoria's smile widened. The pattern continued. Every shot Sterling could have made, he deliberately missed by just enough to make it look believable. His fellow club members watching from the sidelines shook their heads in sympathy. Sterling never had off days like this. By the time Victoria served for match point, Sterling's shirt was soaked with sweat that had nothing to do with exertion. This was it. One more missed return, and everything would change. The ball came over the net in a perfect arc. Sterling watched it bounce, raised his racket, and swung wide. Game, set, match. Victoria jogged to the net, glowing with victory. She lowered her voice as they shook hands. "I've already made the appointment. Tomorrow, 9 a.m. That night, Sterling barely slept. He stared at the ceiling, mind racing with equal parts terror and anticipation. When Victoria's alarm went off at 7:30, he was already awake. "Shower and shave," she instructed, pulling clothes from their closet. "Everything. Legs, arms, chest. There are fresh razors in the drawer." The hot water ran over Sterling's skin as he carefully removed every trace of body hair. The sensation was strange, foreign, but not unpleasant. When he stepped out and toweled off, his skin felt impossibly smooth. Victoria had laid out clothes on the bed, a pair of her jeans and a simple gray t-shirt. "Just for the drive there," she explained. "They'll have everything else you need." The salon was tucked into an upscale shopping district, its windows tinted for privacy. Gold lettering spelled out "Transformation" above the door. Victoria held Sterling's hand as they walked in. "Victoria, darling!" A woman in her 50s with perfectly coiffed platinum hair embraced Victoria warmly. "And this must be Sterling. I'm Monique." Monique studied Sterling with the practiced eye of someone who had done this many times before. "Oh yes, I can see the potential. Those cheekbones, that bone structure. You're going to be stunning, dear. She led them to a private room in the back, walls lined with mirrors and styling stations. Now then, Monique said, settling Sterling into a plush salon chair. Victoria mentioned you'd like auburn hair. I have the perfect shade in mind, rich and warm with subtle copper highlights. It will complement your skin tone beautifully. Sterling nodded, not trusting himself to speak. Monique draped a black cape around his shoulders and got to work. The next hours passed in a blur of activity. First came the hair. Monique sectioned and clipped with expert precision, adding long auburn extensions that blended seamlessly with Sterling's natural color. She cut and shaped, creating layers that framed his face in soft waves. "The color is perfect," Victoria said, running her fingers through the silky strands, like burnished copper in the sunlight. Next came the eyebrows. Monique wielded her tweezers with surgical precision, removing hair after hair until Sterling's thick brows had been transformed into elegant arches. "This might sting a bit," she warned before each pluck, but Sterling barely noticed the pain. He was transfixed by his changing reflection. The makeup came next. Monique explained each step as she worked. "Semi-permanent makeup will last several weeks," she said, carefully applying a rose-tinted stain to Sterling's lips. Perfect for someone just beginning their journey. Foundation evened out skin tone. Subtle contouring enhanced cheekbones that had always been there, but never properly highlighted. Soft brown eyeshadow made Sterling's eyes appear larger, more feminine. Mascara lengthened already long lashes. "Now for the fun part," Monique announced. "Clothes." She wheeled in a rack filled with carefully selected pieces. "I took the liberty of pulling some options based on Victoria's description of your style and body type." The first dress Monique held up was a burgundy wrap dress in a flowing fabric. "This style is universally flattering," she explained. "The wrap accentuates the waist while the V-neck creates a lovely line." Sterling stood, legs shaking slightly, as Monique helped him out of the gray t-shirt and jeans. She produced a matching set of nude undergarments. "Proper foundation garments make all the difference," she said, helping Sterling into a bra with subtle padding. "This will give you a natural silhouette." The dress slipped over Sterling's head like water, the fabric soft against newly smooth skin. Monique tied the wrap at the side, adjusting the fit until it hung perfectly. "Shoes," Victoria said, producing a pair of nude pumps with a modest heel. "I guessed at the size. They fit perfectly." Sterling took a tentative step, then another. The heels changed everything: posture, gait, the way the dress moved. "Accessories," Monique said, draping a delicate gold necklace around Sterling's throat. Matching earrings followed, clip-ons that looked like pierced. A thin gold bracelet completed the set. "One last thing." Monique spritzed a light floral perfume at Sterling's wrists and throat. "There, would you like to see the full effect?" She turned the chair to face the mirror. Sterling gasped. The person looking back wasn't Sterling anymore. Auburn waves framed a face that was familiar, yet completely transformed. The burgundy dress complemented the warm tones in the hair, while the gold jewelry caught the light. Rose-tinted lips parted in surprise. "What do you think?" Victoria asked softly. Sterling stood, smoothing the dress with manicured hands. When had Monique done the nails? French tips, subtle and elegant. "I think," Sterling's voice caught, "I think I need a new name." Victoria smiled. "I've always loved Annie." Annie. The name felt right, settled into place like the last piece of a puzzle. "Yes, I'm Annie." Monique beamed. "Beautiful choice. Now let me show you some techniques for maintaining your look." The next hour was a crash course in femininity. How to sit in a dress, knees together, smooth the skirt beneath. How to walk in heels, smaller steps, one foot in front of the other. How to refresh lipstick without a mirror. How to style the auburn waves each morning. The extensions will last several months with proper care, Monique explained, demonstrating how to brush from the bottom up. And the color is yours naturally, just enhanced. No need for different wigs or constant changes. This is your signature look. Annie absorbed every detail, practiced every movement. The burgundy dress swished around her legs as she walked the length of the salon, Victoria offering encouragement. "How do you feel?" Victoria asked as they prepared to leave. Annie caught her reflection in a mirror one more time. The woman looking back seemed confident, authentic in a way Sterling had never managed. "Like myself," Annie said. "For the first time, like myself." The drive home passed in comfortable silence. Annie kept touching her hair, marveling at the silky texture, the way it brushed her shoulders. The car pulled into their driveway, the same house they'd shared for 3 decades, but everything felt different now. "The neighbors," Annie said suddenly. "What will we tell them?" Victoria took her hand. "Whatever you want. Or nothing at all. This is your journey." Inside, Annie moved through familiar rooms that felt new. The burgundy dress caught on the corner of the kitchen counter. She'd have to relearn spatial awareness in different clothes. The heels clicked on hardwood floors, a sound she'd heard Victoria make thousands of times but never experienced herself. "I should change," Annie said, but the words lacked conviction. "Why?" Victoria asked. "You look beautiful. Besides, we need groceries. Might as well test drive the new you." Panic fluttered in Annie's chest. "Out? Like this?" "Like what? Like yourself?" Victoria grabbed her purse. "Come on, small steps." The grocery store was only 5 minutes away, but it felt like crossing an ocean. Annie checked her reflection in the car mirror. Lipstick still perfect, not a hair out of place. The auburn waves Monique had styled held their shape beautifully. "Ready?" Victoria asked. Annie nodded and stepped out of the car. The parking lot stretched before them, other shoppers going about their day. A woman pushed a cart past, barely glancing their way. A couple debated shopping lists near the entrance. No one stared. No one pointed. The world didn't end. Inside the store, fluorescent lights hummed overhead. Annie pushed the cart while Victoria selected items, their usual routine with one significant change. The burgundy dress moved with each step, the modest heels clicking on linoleum. "Annie? Annie Thompson?" Both women turned. Margaret Wheaton from the tennis club stood there, designer workout clothes impeccable as always. "I'm sorry," Margaret said, looking confused. "I thought you were... You look so much like someone I know." Victoria stepped forward smoothly. "This is Annie, my cousin from out of town. Sterling's running errands today." "Oh, how lovely! The resemblance is uncanny. You could be siblings." Margaret's attention had already wandered to the organic produce. "Enjoy your visit!" She walked away, leaving Annie's heart pounding. Victoria squeezed her arm. "See? Easy." They finished shopping without further incident. Back home, Annie helped put groceries away, the simple domestic task grounding her in normalcy. The afternoon sun slanted through kitchen windows, catching the copper highlights in her hair. "I can't go back," Annie said suddenly. "I know it's only been a few hours, but I can't go back to being Sterling, not even for a day, not even to make other people comfortable." Victoria pulled her into a hug. "I'm not asking you to. I've watched you these past few hours, seen how you move, how you smile. This is who you were meant to be." Days turned into weeks. Annie's world expanded with each small victory. The first time she went to the bank alone. Coffee with Victoria's sister, who accepted the transition without question. A new driver's license with her chosen name. The auburn hair grew with the extensions, creating a seamless blend of natural and enhanced length. Annie learned to style it herself, recreating Monique's waves with hot rollers and patience. The semi-permanent makeup faded gradually, but by then she'd learned to apply her own, favoring the same rose tones that had started this journey. Her wardrobe grew beyond the burgundy dress, though it remained a favorite. Tailored pants in charcoal gray, silk blouses in jewel tones, a little black dress for evenings out. Always tasteful, always authentic to who Annie had discovered herself to be. "I want to start hormones," Annie announced over breakfast one morning, 3 months after that first salon visit. She wore a navy shift dress, pearl earrings catching the light. "I found a doctor who specializes in transgender care." Victoria reached across the table to take her hand. "I'll go with you to the appointment." The doctor was kind and thorough, explaining the changes Annie could expect: softer skin, redistribution of body fat, breast development, emotional changes too. Estrogen affected more than just the body. This is a big step, the doctor said. Are you certain? Annie thought of that first glimpse in Monique's mirror, the rightness of auburn waves and rose-tinted lips, the way the burgundy dress had felt like coming home. I've never been more certain of anything. The changes came slowly, then all at once. Annie's face softened, cheekbones becoming more prominent. Her body shifted in subtle ways. Hips slightly wider, waist more defined. The burgundy wrap dress fit differently, but better, accommodating her evolving silhouette. 6 months after starting hormones, Annie stood before the bedroom mirror in an emerald green cocktail dress. Tonight was the country club's annual gala, the first major social event since her transition. The auburn hair, now entirely her own with just professional shaping, fell in practiced waves past her shoulders. You look stunning, Victoria said from the doorway, elegant in midnight blue. Ready to face the lions? They're not lions, Annie laughed, adjusting her gold necklace. Just people we've known for years who have to adjust to a new reality. The country club ballroom glittered with fairy lights and expensive jewelry. Conversation stuttered as Annie and Victoria entered, a ripple of recognition and surprise moving through the crowd. Chin up, Victoria whispered. You belong here as much as anyone. Richard Harrison, Sterling's former doubles partner, approached first. His wife Eleanor clutched his arm, eyes wide. Victoria, Richard said carefully. And Annie, she said, extending a manicured hand. Lovely to see you both. Richard's handshake was firm, his smile genuine if confused. Annie, right. You look wonderful. The ice broken, others approached. Some with curiosity, some with barely concealed discomfort, but most with surprising warmth. Annie fielded questions with grace, deflected rudeness with humor, and found herself actually enjoying the evening. Sterling was a good man, Judge Patterson said during a quiet moment at the bar. But Annie, she's radiant. Sometimes becoming who we truly are requires tremendous courage. Annie blinked back tears, careful not to smudge her mascara. Thank you. My niece transitioned last year, the judge continued. Best thing she ever did. Give my regards to Victoria. She's a lucky woman. The evening wound down, couples drifting toward the valet stand. Annie's feet ached in her heels, but it was a good ache, the kind that came from dancing and laughing and being fully present in her own life. How do you feel? Victoria asked as they waited for their car. Annie considered the question. The emerald dress caught the light from the club's entrance, her auburn hair lifting slightly in the evening air. 6 months ago, she'd been Sterling, successful but incomplete, wearing a mask even he didn't fully recognize. Now she was Annie, authentic, whole, home. Like myself, she said, taking Victoria's hand. Completely, finally, myself. The valet brought their car around. Annie slid into the passenger seat, careful with her dress, movements automatic now. As they drove home through familiar streets, she caught her reflection in the side mirror. Auburn waves, rose-tinted lips, eyes that sparkled with hard-won peace. No regrets? Victoria asked. Only one, Annie said, that I waited so long to become who I was meant to be. Their house appeared ahead, porch light glowing warm in the darkness. Tomorrow would bring new challenges. It always did. There were still legal documents to change, medical appointments to navigate, relationships to renegotiate. But tonight, Annie was simply a woman coming home with her wife after a lovely evening out. She'd thrown that tennis match on purpose, knowing even then that losing would mean winning everything that truly mattered. The lipstick that started it all sat in her purse now. Coral Sunset, Victoria's favorite shade, now hers as well. Thank you, Annie said as they pulled into the garage, for seeing me before I could see myself. Victoria smiled. I've always seen you, darling. I was just waiting for you to catch up. Inside, Annie kicked off her heels with a sigh of relief. The emerald dress would need to be dry cleaned, the jewelry carefully stored. Tomorrow she'd wake up and style her auburn hair, apply her makeup with practiced ease, choose another outfit from a wardrobe that finally felt like hers. But tonight, she was simply Annie Thompson, woman, wife, authentic self. The journey from Sterling to Annie had been longer than that single tennis match, deeper than any makeover could capture. It was a transformation of soul as much as body, a claiming of truth that no amount of fear could deny.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to check out my other socials if you want more content, early access, behind the scenes, and more. All links down below.